After 23 years, Star Trek is finally giving Captain Janeway the ending she deserves. For decades, Star Trek fans have debated the fate of one of Starfleet's most pioneering captains, Captain Janeway. Since Star Trek Voyager first beamed onto our screens in 1995, Janeway has stood out not just for her scientific brilliance or her unflinching moral compass, but for her unwavering commitment to her crew while stranded 70,000 light-years from home in the Delta Quadrant. She was the captain many of us aspired to understand and emulate. Tough but empathetic, authoritative yet human. Yet, for all her brilliance and resilience, the series finale of Voyager left many fans feeling that Janeway's story, like the ship she commanded, had come to a somewhat bittersweet halt. 23 years later, the Star Trek universe is finally revisiting her legacy in a way that gives Janeway the narrative justice she has long deserved. The upcoming projects in the Star Trek franchise have begun weaving threads that suggest Janeway is not just a historical figure in Starfleet records, but a living, breathing catalyst for the future of the galaxy. And this isn't simply fan service, it's a careful, deliberate acknowledgement of a captain whose influence has rippled through time and space in ways the original series never fully explored. One of the most profound aspects of Janeway's leadership was her ability to balance moral integrity with pragmatism. In the Delta Quadrant, where rules were often ambiguous and the Federation's influence almost non-existent, she made decisions that were both courageous and controversial. Whether negotiating with the Borg, managing the delicate ethics of species' first encounters, or risking everything to bring home her crew, Janeway's journey was a constant negotiation between what was right and what was possible. And yet, for all the moral victories and technological triumphs, Voyager's finale leaned heavily into nostalgia and the bittersweet relief of finally returning home, rather than offering a deep reflection on what Janeway's decades-long odyssey had truly cost and taught her. This is where the new narrative opportunities shine. The Star Trek franchise is beginning to embrace Janeway not just as a captain who survived impossible odds, but as a figure whose legacy continues to shape the Federation in meaningful ways. Rumors and early teasers suggest that upcoming storylines will explore Janeway's post-Voyager career, her influence on Starfleet policy, and even her interactions with new generations of explorers. This is significant because it reframes her not as a relic of the past, but as an active participant in the Star Trek universe's evolving tapestry. For fans who have long speculated about the what happens next after Voyager's end, this feels like the recognition we've been waiting for. Importantly, the modern Star Trek approach acknowledges the emotional depth of Janeway's journey. The original series gave us glimpses of her vulnerabilities, her loneliness, and the weight of command. But with today's storytelling techniques, long-form arcs, serialized character exploration, and a willingness to confront moral ambiguity head-on, Janeway's emotional journey can finally be fully realized. We can see her grappling not just with the politics of Starfleet, but with the personal consequences of a life spent making impossible decisions for the sake of others. The narrative possibilities here are endless. Mentorship of young captains, revisiting old Delta Quadrant alliances, and confronting the lingering consequences of her confrontations with the Borg and Species 8472. From a meta perspective, giving Janeway the ending she deserves also corrects a historical oversight in Star Trek storytelling. While the franchise has long celebrated characters like Kirk, Picard, and Sisko, Janeway's contributions were often overshadowed by her male counterparts in fan discourse and critical analysis. By revisiting her story now, the franchise is signaling a commitment to balance the narrative ledger. Janeway's intellect, resilience, and moral fortitude are finally being acknowledged as foundational to Starfleet's development in the 24th and 25th centuries. The timing of this narrative revival is also serendipitous. Modern Star Trek audiences crave stories that blend classic adventure with moral complexity and character depth. Janeway's legacy perfectly embodies this synthesis. She is both a symbol of the pioneering spirit that made Star Trek legendary and a reminder of the human cost of exploration. By exploring her post-Voyager journey, writers can reflect on themes of leadership, sacrifice, and legacy in ways that resonate deeply with today's viewers. Ultimately, what makes this moment so thrilling is that it allows us to see Janeway as more than a character in a beloved series. It allows us to see her as an